Welcome back, my horde, and welcome to the Overpowered podcast featuring Jay and Chris.
Hi all.
Hello.
So, one of the comments did bring up that Tammy's characters were pretty overpowered. I would have liked Tammy to actually been here to actually say, yeah, I do that. But, she had to go to sleep. Because, she's got to do that too. But we did actually read your comment, and yeah, Tammy is like, well, yeah, I do make powerful characters.
Sometimes the powerful characters are simply because they actually know what the hell they're doing with the character.
Some of the times with Tammy's characters, it was really just the fact that two of them are werewolves. And in White Wolf, werewolves were pretty mean. And then if you add them being in any form, fashion, or way, ghouled, / having vampiric blood inside them, they just become even worse in the mean department. And it's actually in some of the rules in the book, it actually states that a lot of werewolves actually hate vampires and think that taking their blood is an abomination to actually try preventing that. But not everyone would think that way, so that's kind of one of the things. And then a couple of her other characters has just been me GMing it. And when I GM things, I do tend to try to make people's characters overpowered because I think I said this in one of the GMing podcasts, but I really enjoy myself having a very overpowered character. I like having that. I hate having a character that is constantly near death and at any point in time will be killed.
Yeah, to me it's the opposite, really. It's having an OP character, I just kind of lose interest because there's no real challenge or threat. I just slowly lose interest in it and whatever. It's the same with like in Skyrim or anything else. I guess is once I get to an OP stage is when I generally have ended up losing interest in the game.
Well, right now, currently, when we're playing ours on Mondays, uh, I threw something at you guys recently that, well, it's not going to be recent anymore. But I threw something recently at you guys that you guys theoretically could have defeated, but would have been pretty close, and one of you probably would have died, at the very least.
Yeah.
I threw at them a dragon construct. It was a half dragon, half construct. And it's got all the benefits of both things with none of the weaknesses of both things. And it can shoot out sonic, fire, lightning, ice, and acid all at the same time. Including the fact that when it breathes, in the cone of which it breathes, it also shoots out a dispel magic effect. Which I believe I did bring up to you guys, but it's only when it's yeah, because you would go to use magic. I thought you were using magic, and I said you couldn't use magic because it was actually doing that when it was breathing. No, it's only within its cone, though.
No, it didn't. I didn't catch that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's only within its cone, but it's actually one of the things with that is the fact that it was meant to just be when it breathes, and if you have a magical weapon or whatever, it just shuts it off temporarily, not permanently. So you guys don't have to worry about that. So anyway, I'm going now to you guys actually, now that we're 4 minutes in and I've just rambled about other things. Who wants to go first about their overpowered characters? And how many do you think you actually have?
Okay, let me ask a question just for a little bit of clarification. Is this OP as in an NPC you've run?
It can be.
Or straight... Okay. Then the two that immediately spring to mind are one, my trigenome, and the second is Unity.
Oh, yes, Unity.
The simple fact that everybody reacted tells you right outright.
It's funny because not too long ago, like last month I think it was, my wife reminded me of Unity. And so I sent a mutual friend of ours who played with Unity asking if he was a threat. He
Yeah.
remembered. He's like, nope.
Just it was a GURPS campaign, and definitely that was it. As far as I understood, because I came in late to that group, so I'm just giving my quick point of view of how that happened. I came in late to that group. It had already started for a bit, and this robotic thing came to me and was like, "Are you a threat to Unity?" And I was like, trying to figure out what he was trying to say and figure out all that stuff, and just everyone was like, "Say no." And I was like, "Okay, no."
The premise behind Unity, because I actually remember how I created him, is Unity was effectively the replicators from Stargate, but the human form version. Now the catch is this one with Unity is Unity would never start a fight. Simple, straight out right. They would not start a fight. They would, however, finish it. Now, that being said, their logic processes for who is responsible is a little flawed. So, for instance, we'll use the Federation as an example. A Federation ship accidentally shot at Unity. Unity would then wipe out the Federation entirely. Every planet, every person, every ship, every station. Doesn't matter if it was rogue accident or what. That being said, if you never threatened Unity in any way, shape, or form, it left you alone.
You know what I have just realized this moment? We played that a long time ago. A stupid amount of time ago now. Over 10 years, I'm pretty sure. I just realized right now that we could have used Unity to kill our enemies.
Yeah, quite easily.
The entire time we had fought that zombie horde, we could have just told Unity that the zombie horde
was a threat to
Unity.
Yeah. There's a couple of those times. There's a couple of things in that campaign that just got chuckles. I can't remember full exact details now, unfortunately. But there's a couple of things that just got chuckles because I thought you were going to go one way and you decided to, rather than take the highway to get to your destination, you decided to go through Death Valley with deciding, you know what, we don't need backpacks, we don't need this, we don't need that. Oh, we don't need a vehicle, we can walk it.
No, with that one, the two major things I can remember of, or actually three, sorry. The three major things that I can remember of that game, now four. Anyway, one of them was, I tried desperately to become second command of that ship. My character had become jack of all trades. I could do everything. Everyone had been focusing on one thing. There was a tiger that focused on combat. There was the captain. There was the second command. There was I'm trying to remember everybody else because I don't remember what the other person in that group was doing, and I can't remember what the other person in that group was doing. But there was two other people.
Combat caster.
That was me.
No, that was yes. No, that
was me.
That may have been.
He was the mage.
Because you were so. Hold on. We're gonna pause this. We're gonna talk about this off camera because we're gonna bring up a lot of names. We'll come back.
Yep.
So we came to the conclusion that the one character was a repairing a mechanic.
Ship's mechanic.
And the other person just kept remaking characters. So, but no, I was a mage who was focusing on healing people, and then Tammy joined and she wanted to be a healer, so I stopped doing that. I also focused on everything else. I could pilot the plane, I could be a mechanic, I could be the doctor, I could be the communications officer, I could be combat, I could be weapons. I was everything.
You could be everything, and what you were being overlooked.
Yes, because I was like, I want to be second in command so freaking bad, because the second command, from what I remember, didn't really want to be second command, but Chris was like, oh, I'm going to have him as my second command. I'm like, but me!
No.
I remember that the tiger had a really quick healing factor, and that
broke his foot on a
he punching bag because he was so powerful because he was working on strength so much that he had to change his punching bag from a normal punching bag to a punching bag that would actually theoretically be made of metal that actually would reform when you punched it. And he hit it at one point and it dropped because he didn't secure it properly, and it fell right on his foot, breaking his foot. And then because of his healing factor, it healed, but because the healing factor / the GM went with the concept that the healing factor healed exactly how you were at that point, not healing you back to what you were originally. It healed his foot broken.
Hey, a broken bone will heal in whatever position it's sitting in when it heals. That's why it's so important to get the bone set.
There's also the concept that in certain healing factors, it actually sets you back to factory reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the GURPS healing, the GURPS regeneration ability is simply...
Well, see, again, you're saying that it's regeneration, which theoretically would go towards that. But again, your GM, so I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah.
It was just a funny thing, you did.
Yeah, the funny thing
/
happened on the way to the
douchebag thing that you did. Then they're like, oh, well, you have to put your foot back together, but it's already healed. So, like, every time I would make a cut, because I was the doctor, every time I would make the cut, it would actually slowly start healing behind me, so I'd have to make sure I forced it to stay open.
You have to break his foot.
And then I had to break his foot and put it back together. And the thing was is that I couldn't give him anything for the pain because his healing factor just pushed that out of him.
Yep.
No, actually, I don't think it was the healing factor that was the issue in that. I think it was one of his immunities.
But still,
he had. I think he had a couple of different immunities to poisons and stuff like this, and the medication that was on the ship was still under classification.
I think it was. I don't remember that, but nonetheless, I remember it being something that just ran through his body because you were going with the concept.
We really need to do a GURPS campaign again one of these days.
My problem with GURPS was the fact that without that program that we were using, I don't like making characters because making them is just the point.
They take so long.
But moving on, the other thing I remember is one of the last missions we did was a zombie thing, and we were in this giant space station of just zombies. Like the entire space station had been turned to zombies because of a lich. I don't think he was actually. You didn't classify him as a lich at the time. But basically that is what he relatively was, looking back at it. He was controlling undead.
Yeah, he was a necromancer.
Was he a necromancer? I don't remember being... anyway, it doesn't matter.
I don't remember.
That's fun. I remember we're all trapped in a room and we're all trying to decide what we can do and what we can't do, and because there's so many of them. And then basically we decide that we have two options. Either I can teleport them all back to the ship, because I had enough magic to do one at a time, use the ship as energy source to get my magic back, and come back and forth.
Yeah, that's because you had the abilities to convert energy into magic power.
Yes, which was something I just had recently took, and we had recently implemented in the ship, right before this mission.
Talk about timing.
Yeah, also I had got strong enough that I could actually teleport that distance. Or I could teleport to the ship and start making magical weapons and bring them back. The group decided magical weapons. I guess the group decided that doing magical weapons was better because if I can give them all magical weapons, they can get more experience. It turned out that the GM didn't want that one when we went back to that, and one of the characters, the weretiger, started walking through undead.
Yeah, that's as a GM of GURPS, the opponents that my players generally fight generally fall into one of two categories. They either die really, really, really stupidly quickly, or are more powerful than I thought they were.
So,
I can never find that happy middle ground.
Well, the problem was the fact that we started getting so many benefits that we started bypassing a lot of their stuff and just doing too much damage. And also, because you had at one point changed the point value for strength, I'm pretty sure the weretiger had doubled its strength than compared to what it should have been. Because
I think that was an advantage he was utilizing?
No, it was something you had changed because you had one of the book's things say that if you get to a certain level, your strength has to double, and you didn't like that thing because didn't make sense to you that physicals would be so hard to work on. So you actually kept it either at normal, whatever, and yeah, he just got super powerful, which is fine. It just and then basically after that, the necromancer / lich was just like, hey guys, you win. Stop killing them, and I'll just leave. Cool, don't kill me. Cool. And I think we actually agreed to that because I think the GM was like, please agree to it. So without saying please agree to it, it was just like that passive like, please agree to it. So then we agreed to it. We all were leveling up, and then one of the characters in the group, or one of the people, sorry, I think it was actually Chris, asked to make a different character. He
wasn't me.
Wasn't you? I was pretty sure it was.
No, I think it was
the tiger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But most of us misunderstood and made new characters.
Yeah, and
then Jay didn't like that. The only people that kept their characters was me and Tammy.
Yeah, that pretty much terminated that campaign because it's. There was enough time between the sessions that everybody had lost their characters except for you
Tiger's girlfriend was playing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what the fact that one was either.
I have no clue.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, I remember mine because, like, I remember when I first started, I was like, oh man, I'll be a mage. Sure, I'll be a mage. I remember that Jay was like, yeah, this is going to be fun. Because if you botch any of your rolls, you can have, like, really bad things happen.
And you kept wanting you to botch.
Yeah. And then I would never botch, and then just at some point, it was like, I got to the point where even if I botched, it wouldn't actually cause the problem anymore.
Yeah, no, it's... Yeah, in GURPS, not having a lot of skill in this particular spell you're using can be really, really bad.
Like, but I remember that before we ended, because we actually got all the experience for killing all the zombies, despite the fact that we didn't kill them all. We actually got all that experience, and I remember that I had my magic so powerful that I could teleport as a blink. As a reaction to an attack, I could teleport.
Yep, you were in the high 30s for skill for that, and the amount of energy it automatically provided you just got stupid.
So there's that, and I remember that Chris's new character went first. That was one of his abilities.
I go first.
Yeah. Which I had joked that.
Right.
Yep.
I had joked that it would be funny because I think I can actually counter his attack and still attack him, but then we were going to do this like big Coliseum thing, and my character's like, you know what? I don't care. I don't want to fight you guys. Like, I don't know these guys. I'm not competing in some kind of like tournament thing. Nah, it's okay. Yep. And then we never did the tournament because I know that two of the problems with the tournament was that one, you did not. You were going to do the tournament. I think the problem was that it really seemed like, remembering it now and remembering it back then, that you were okay with everyone making new characters, and then a week or two passed, and then you realized that you weren't okay with it because now you weren't sure where you were going with the story because
it completely derailed everything I was going for the story, and I initially thought I could compensate and adjust, and the change in the personality of the characters just did not work.
Well, thinking back on it, it does make sense that it would be hard because Chris, being the captain of the ship, is no longer that character. So he's not the captain of the ship anymore.
Bringing up the whole retconning, we'd have to retcon a whole lot of shit to try to make that work.
Or it would be the concept that we all now have to go to a new ship, or during the tournament. The only thing I think actually would have saved you is one of two things. Either everyone was just like, you know what, we're moving on to a new ship. We're all just going to move on to a new ship. New hierarchy, new ship. Or the second thing would have been that we were all teleported somewhere else and had to work together.
Yeah, I didn't think about it at the time.
No, it's perfectly fine. But the other problem was that two of the people started fighting.
Yeah.
They weren't fighting yet, but they were getting close. One person, Tiger, guy. So if he's watching, he knows exactly who I'm talking about. He was upset that the other character who kept making new characters had made a character that was similar to his character. And the thing was that that person just would make multiple characters. I don't think they were initially, trying to do anything, but that thought process came in.
Yeah, he made like a were-ram or something like that.
Rhino, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's the same thing of Tiger. For one of the previous campaigns we were in, which is the reason he isn't involved in this recent one, is he was making characters specifically geared to piss off yours and cause conflict. But yeah, since we pretty much talked out the Unity one, the only other OP character that I can remember playing as a character I built was what I called my Trigeno.
Before you actually go into that, I just want to go back to Unity real fast. In that entire campaign, I never remember actually seeing Unity do anything. To be fair, I don't remember Unity doing anything. Because, again, you guys were there before I was. So, whenever you guys had talked about this, the Unity being so powerful, so over-powerful.
You never saw it.
I never saw any of it.
Yeah, I don't even remember that campaign.
I don't remember any of it. So, like, literally all I was, like, basing it off was them. And that the fact that they had somehow convinced Unity to not go overpowered.
Yeah.
I don't know how Unity was overpowered. I don't know what Unity did to become overpowered. I have no clue. Like it is still a mystery to me about like if Unity just like duplicated itself in an attack, or if like if the ship had some kind of giant beam weapon that Unity could access.
No, what it is I can tell you exactly the reason why Unity was such a threat. Is because Unity could quite literally consume any material around him, including organics, to make more of itself. So, literally, if it's standing in a ship and you attack it, it becomes the ship.
So, odd question. How does it absorb the stuff?
For organics?
Sure.
For organics, it was more absorbing the base materials that were comprised in organic matter.
Like a human.
Yeah. Like, it would eat the iron in your blood.
So it would actually be like nanites attacking me.
They would legitimately break down all your cellular structure into base components, which it then use for whatever it wanted.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is I have one that I brought up in one of the things, an overpowered character, but he's actually someone I don't talk about a lot because he is freaking broken. The entire purpose behind the character was because I originally made him a long time ago to be slightly broken because people I kept running into were like, oh, well, my character can do this. My character can do that. So I was trying to find logical ways to counterbalance it. Like, a guy was going on about how he could, do this, and this. And I was like, well, okay, but, my character can do this, so theoretically he can counterbalance that, and stuff like that. So that's why I was wondering.
Yeah. The second OP character that I have actually played as my own personal character is what I call the Trigeno. What it was a human half-dragon who was infected, who was a natural-born lycanthrope with the legendary template thrown on it. I built one of these things, and I call them things for a reason. I built one of these things, and it was OP even by my standards. I believe at one point in time, he was a monk, a high-level monk at the time, and with the equipment he had on it and everything else like this, we calculated it up. He could move up to, I think it was something like 3,000 feet per turn in D&D.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Using the run feat for the times five move.
Yeah.
And then using the falling damage calculations and everything else like this, he was able to one-shot a colossal black dragon with one punch.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
That got kind of OP.
Yeah.
But I that one I stopped playing that character, but it always sticks out. It always sticks out in my mind as somebody mentions an OP character, my Trigenome immediately pops to mind.
That's actually just the speed alone sounds like something was a little weird there. Just in general, of when someone said that to me, I'd be like, what did you like? Who did you
He was
How?
Yeah.
It was a combination of increased move speed due to his lycanthrope, because his I think it was I can't remember if it was Were Tiger or Were Cheetah, but it gave a massive speed boost already on top of the human form. The legendary gave an additional speed boost. The So I think right off the top of my head, just by himself, his move speed was something like 100. And then it was Monk's Belt added something, and it was a combination of Monk's Belt, a set of boots he was wearing that multiplied move speed, and then he took the run feat, which multiplied it again by ×5 when he was running.
Well, going with the numbers that you had said, it would mean that his move speed would be about 600.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I built this thing.
I'm just saying, because you said 3,000 was his run speed. Times the 5, so divide by the 5, is 600. 600 would be his base move speed, and that's where I'm like, that's a little crazy.
Yeah, no, it was OP. Because he did, I think I went out and bought a brick of D6 just for this guy's, I'm running it, I'm going to punch you damage. But,
being able to cover 600 feet every 5 seconds is kind of crazy.
He was approaching speed of sound. But, that to me struck as the OP. I've only built it once. I've never built one since, even when it was requested of me by one person. I've not built it since, but that was...
Who asked you to rebuild it?
No names, remember?
No, I know.
A certain tiger character.
Okay.
But...
thought it might have been him.
Whenever I think OP characters, that's the one that pops to mind.
If you're wondering why we don't bring up other people's names, it's because theoretically they're not here. So we don't know if we have permission to actually say their names. So it's just one of those things that we're trying to prevent it.
Just being courteous.
Yeah. It's just they're not here, so we can't really say it. We're going to badmouth them. They know who they are, so
Yeah. We may slip every now and then, but we try not.
Actually, I don't think we've ever slipped.
No. I've slipped a couple of times that I know of.
Not that...
No.
But you guys may not recognize the slip because one of my siblings' name is his name.
Oh well.
So you guys may not register the slip, but when I keep saying my brother and his name.
You did say that at least once.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So I've slipped a couple of times that I know of, but I'm trying. But yeah, no, those were the two more OP ones.
Okay.
Given as a disclaimer for Unity was designed as an NPC meant to facilitate them being able to travel rapidly. That was his point, but I had players at the time that were, it moves, kill it for EXP. And I wanted to make sure that they wouldn't want to do that.
Pretty sure it's the same Tiger player.
No, it wasn't. It was the one that was keep making new characters.
No, it was both.
Yeah. At different points.
Because, the zombie thing was like, let's kill it for EXP. And we're like, okay. Again, I was also relatively new. And I was also relatively new at playing with you guys.
Yeah, I was, in that campaign, I was testing experimental system I'd come up with for upgrading weapons and equipment with EXP orbs and everything else like this.
And one of the other problems with playing with us all is being able to actually find time now. Yeah. Because we only get to play for about 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually really difficult for a campaign that you want to actually grow and evolve. Like back in the day when we were playing at your place, we were playing for
Shit,
like
it was
8 hours on your day off.
6-8 hours easy, sometimes going longer.
Yep.
You can't do that nowadays.
Though we
Nope.
could, if we had the right people.
Well,
And that's where the biggest problem is.
The
It's like,
schedule was able to
yeah,
meet
because
up,
like theoretically, if we had Chris, me, you, we could theoretically play on a Monday night until,
4 o'clock,
yeah, 4 in the
5
morning.
o'clock in the morning, easy. I mean, me and Chris are graveyard workers. We're
Yeah.
up all night anyways.
We just have to then find someone else to do it. The other thing is like Tammy would play up to 11, and then someone would have to drive me home, which is perfectly fine. But Tammy then having to drive me home, Tammy leaving, either she joins up to that point, and then I have to play her character, which I know certain people do not like when people do.
Well, the other option entirely is we do 2 different campaigns. One campaign is with Tammy and everything else like this, and another campaign could be us.
Yeah.
Fuck, we might do it for a podcast or something like that. Who knows? But that would be a just complete cluster now that I think about it. But just the way some of our stuff goes.
Oh, yeah, well.
But yeah, no, it's...
I think the other problem is if we actually were to do something for the channel dealing with that. Somebody, not mentioning any Chris's, would have to actually really think about his character and really get into the character like he's done before.
Yeah. Not very often.
You have done it before, and
I'm not arguing that.
And it's been glorious.
yeah.
But unfortunately,
I
he's never actually played with me with a character where I could actually get right into it. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, that's the main problem, is each of us will get really into our character at the wrong freaking time because nobody else is getting into their character.
I always get into my characters. I don't think that, since I've actually been role-playing, I think I've always been into my character. And if I'm not into my character, I don't want to play it. You will, if you watch me ever play a character and I just start, not doing things that character does, I've stopped caring. And if I stop caring, it means I don't care about that character at all anymore. Yeah, and it's if that point starts coming up, I will usually either try to soul search on what's my problem to then fix my problem, or I talk to the GM about said problem. Yeah. And a lot of the time, I do not, because to me, I've always been in the role-playing aspect of Dungeons and Dragons. I hated dungeon crawling. Even when I dungeon crawled, I actually freaking wanted to be my character. Like, I would try to getting stuff for my character. And the other crazy part about that is when I played, one time I played a campaign. I can't remember with who. Can't remember if I was an NPC or if I was actually playing. I can't remember any of that. But all we did the entire session was talk. We never rolled our dice once. And at the end of it, I think someone was like, are we upset that we didn't roll dice? I'm like, no, I don't give a crap. I was playing my character the entire time.
You were actually role-playing, so you were happy.
Yeah.
Well, that can happen quite frequently.
It's also why a lot of the time I make an NPC to play. Because I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, it's...
I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 characters that I've played that I really got into.
Well, we'll save that for the next podcast, because we're at almost 34 minutes.
Yep. So
we'll do your Overpower characters and then the ones that you really got into. And then you can go into the ones that you really got into. So, until next time, my horde, make an overpowered character.
They're actually kind of fun until they get boring.
Yeah. I never get bored.